together for about 30 minutes. I will just share with you some of the protocol for bringing our students onto campus next week. And then we will stop recording it. I will open it up for questions and answers. So as I go through the presentation, if you guys have questions, if you can just jot it to the side and wait until the end to ask your questions. And then at 5:45, we do have to jump on to our 3rd through 5th grade family. So if you want to come and join me again and listen to almost the same thing, you can. It's slightly different, but almost the same. So if you have 2 kiddos, one in 1st and one in 5th, the information is not too different, just slight differences in pickup and drop-off locations. But other than that, most of the information will be the same. All right, Mrs. Fish, we're ready to start? Okay, awesome. All right, welcome Eagle families. Thank you so much for joining us. This is parent orientation for hybrid families, 1st and 2nd grade. First of all, thank you so much, parents, for being so patient with us for the past, oh my gosh, 12 months now as we transition through one of the most unusual and difficult challenges. I think that's an understatement, if I'm correctly using my description and adjectives there, and giving our teachers and our school staff the patience as we figure out how we transition and open up for our families safely. This week, yesterday and today, we brought on to campus over 35 kindergartners. 18 in one day, 18 another day. And so I'm a little exhausted. Mrs. Fish is a little exhausted, but we're elated because we were so happy to see so many of our little kiddos on campus, and the smiles on their face just made everything worth it. So we're very excited to welcome our 1st and 2nd graders starting next week. Okay, so today I'm going to go over some procedures and protocols. I also will share with you, it was already shared with you, but I will share with you again, the parent-student handbook for COVID version. And so all that is kind of explained tonight, but the handbook will explain a little bit more as well. So our goals. Some families ask, why are we bringing back so late in the year? What is the purpose and goal? And so our primary goal of bringing our students back onto campus is to give families the option to reconnect with our teachers, our staff, and our school. Students belong in school, and we've been out of it for so long, but it takes some time to reacclimate what that feeling really feels like, to really instill a sense of community, that we are interconnected and that there is a connectedness between people and that human aspect of it. The socialization skill. If you ask your students, what was their favorite part of the day? The number one answer is recess. It's not math, it's not English, it's recess. That was my son's answer, and that will probably be your kid's answer, because they really look forward to what's in the playground, looking at their friends and talking to them. So it's that socialization. And it's trust. Parents, it's going to take a little bit of trust and rebuilding of trust for you to hand over your child to us. So that first day you come and drop off your child, it's going to feel a little awkward because they've been with you for so long, but it's rebuilding that trust that we will take care of your child and be safe with them. And independence. It's also teaching your child to learn on their own without the help of mommy or daddy or an adult next to them, and then being able to do things on their own and ask for help. That is a really big social skill that we need to reteach our students. And so we're doing that slowly and safely and in small cohorts, and those are our goals. So learning models, simply put, we have two schedules, and you should have all received your cohort models. Cohort A comes onto campus Tuesdays and Thursdays. Drop-off is 8:30 and pickup is 11:30. You get a little bit of a commute and a lunchtime, and then you continue on distance learning and/or independent learning. Cohort B comes onto campus Wednesdays and Fridays, and the schedule is almost the same. If you still have questions about whether you're cohort A or B, you should have received it in your email, or it should also be available on your Aries. If you do not know, just email us and we'll be able to give you that answer. And/or your teacher should have that information. So the learning models, next week, we're going to be transitioning to a new schedule. So whether you're distance learning or hybrid A or cohort B, schedules are going to change because teachers will be coming onto campus. They started coming onto campus this week. Our 1st and 2nd grade teachers were on campus if they have not been on before, setting up their classroom. And so the schedule is bound to change a little bit. However, as I share with you some of the sample schedules, our teachers are doing their best to keep to their normal distance learning schedule so that the learning is not lost and that there isn't too much change. So hybrid schedule is as follows. On Mondays, everybody will still be distance learning, and your teacher will be providing to you what that distance learning schedule looks like. It starts at 9, lunch is at 12:05, and it goes on to 2 o'clock. And it looks a little different for every teacher. So they should have emailed you something. If they have not already, it will come to you in the next couple of days. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, Group A is on campus, and Group B and C, which is distance learning, will be at home. Group B comes onto campus Wednesday and Fridays, while Group A and Group C, who are distance learning, learns at home. So this is a sample schedule. Students who come onto campus will come onto campus at 8:30. Students who are at home will be doing some sort of independent learning via Google Classroom. At 9 o'clock, everybody's going to go live, whether you're at home or whether you're on campus. So that's a little bit of the challenge that our teachers are trying to figure out. We have actually been doing a really good job. Our kinder families have actually been doing an excellent job trying to do simultaneous instruction, which is teaching kids in person as well as the ones online. Just they didn't want the kids who are at home for the day to miss out on any learning. And then we'll have recess and break. Of course, the kids who are on campus will get that in person, and the recess and break at home will happen virtually on their own. And around 11:15, we pack up, we clean up, and we get prepared to go. And they'll be walked down to their pickup area. And then teachers might go back on at 11:30 and work with the ones at home for the day. It really depends on what the teacher communicates with you. So it's really important to reach out to them for that specific schedule because all of them have developed a schedule. And this is actually one sample of a teacher who created one. This is another sample, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 to 9 and independent. 9 to 9:30 is morning meeting with all. They go into math with everybody, and then there's some independent work. Then at 10 to 10:15 is recess, 10:15 to 10:30 is independent Go Noodle, and 10:30 to 11 is reading cohort. So this is another sample of a schedule that teacher created. So again, as you see, there's a little bit of difference based on the teacher. But most of the simultaneous whole group instruction will happen in the morning, and independent and small group learning will happen in the afternoon. These are some sample classrooms of how our classrooms look now. All your students will be given independent space for them to keep their learning materials in school, and we'll share with you what those materials look like. Your little eagles, they're gonna have to lug back and forth some materials, and we're gonna share that with you. We're gonna work out their arm, shoulder, and back muscles just a little bit. But they'll also be given cubbies to keep some of their materials here. As you can see, it's going to be labeled, and every child is gonna have a separate one. And this is a sample classroom of our second grade classroom, I believe. The desks are separated, of course, 6 feet apart, and you can see how nicely spaced out they are. There's more than enough room between the desk, and each classroom holds about an average of 8 desks. Doesn't mean there's going to be 8 students for your cohort, but about 8 to 10 is the size of each class right now. Recess and play yard. So it was important that we give students a time to socialize safely. So the rule is we still cannot mix cohorts. So your child in your teacher's class cannot play or mix with another classroom's teacher. They will have recess on their own. It was really interesting to see our kinders who had a cohort of 3 play together. It was quite fun. It was 1-to-1 adult at that time. But for grades 1st and 2nd graders, we'll be rotating our playground. So on one week, they'll be having access to open courts where they can play basketball or hula hoops or jump ropes. And we're going to equip them with playground equipment that are very safe, and they're not really close in contact with each other, but they'll get exercise and they'll still get some socialization time. And they'll also have tables out there with trash cans, and they can choose to eat during that time if they want to. And as you can see on the benches, we have markers that says do not sit there, so they know which spaces are available to sit, so they could still safely be distant and enjoy their snacks. We have play structure, we have open grass field, and each area we're going to rotate so that they have access to different play equipment as well. So these are some of the most important parts. So Ingress and egress, so dropping off your students and picking up of your students is especially really important during the COVID times because we wanted to make it as quick and safe and efficient as possible. And we really need your help, parents, to make that happen. So next week, on Tuesday, cohort A will be coming onto campus. For our 1st and 2nd grader, it will be your first time here. It's normal to feel a little anxious, normal to feel a little nervous. Parents, it's okay to drop them off and go cry in the car. It's fine. That's a very normal reaction. But we need to do that a little quickly. Our kinders will have at least 1 week under their belt, so they'll be a little bit of a pro. So at 8:30, before you drop them off, you'll get a little message from me through Parent Square asking you to take the health screening. And I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions today and also through Parent Square, but that needs to be complete at home, and you need to show that when you come onto campus. That health screening is for your child, parents, not for you, for your child. And at this time, as a 1st and 2nd grader, they're not old enough to answer those questions. So you need to do that. So health screen at home, check their temperature. Ask them those questions. Are you feeling okay? Does your tummy hurt? Do you have a headache? How are you feeling today? The accuracy and the validity of your responses really helps us maintain the health of all of our students and families. So in the past, if you did send your student, even if they were a little sick, these are the times to not do that. These are the times to be actually erring in more of a side of caution. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to drive up. We're going to show you where you drive up to. You're going to show us your health screening. Then your students will be able to get out of their car. Of course, they'll have their masks on, and there'll be markers on the ground. As you can see, Mrs. Fish is here with Ms. Corina, one of our health aides, and we're taking a temperature. It takes really literally less than 10 seconds to do that. Then once they get that, they get a little badge with their name on it and a little color coding telling the proctors who their teacher is. Because again, they won't know where their classroom is for the first week. So we have a way to identify where they're gonna go. And so they'll have proctors along the way, staff that would tell them which classrooms they go to. So students will be directed to their classrooms. Teachers will be on campus at 8:30 in their classrooms with their door opens, ready to receive your child. So from 8:30 to 9 o'clock-ish, like a little bit before that, it's good time to drop off your students. So we ask that you come between 8:30 and 8:45 at the latest to give us time to do that check-in process. And teachers will be waiting in their classroom. Students will have their own desk. They'll be able to place their backpacks, and they'll be asked to wash their hands. So that check-in process takes a little bit of time. So we put that 8:30 to 9 o'clock buffer, and at 9 o'clock, learning will begin in the classroom. So I really ask that you guys manage your time efficiently in the morning and not rush to do the health screening while you're waiting, because it forms crowds and it forms traffic in our car line. So that's something that really needs to happen at home first. You can always practice ahead of time. It doesn't hurt to do an extra one before you actually do it on the day of. Okay, there will be plenty of reminders, but that was one of the biggest things that held us up for kinder. We didn't have that many students, but that was the thing that took the most time, the health screening. So this is what a health screening looks like. So if you're not on your phone right now, you could actually take the QR code. So you can turn on your camera and see if you can take a picture of the QR code, and a Google form should pop up right now. So or if you don't have it, the website address is just fine. Like I said, I will be sending this via Parent Square to you in the morning of around 7:30 is when the message is going to come, reminding you to do it for your child before you guys come onto campus. Now, you don't need to fill this out for you. You need to fill it out for your student. So you need your student's email address. Your student's email address is their first name, initial of their last name, and it's a 4-digit numeric code at dordausd.org. So if you don't know what your child's email address is, you have to log on to your Aries parent portal, and under the contact info, your student all has an email address, and that's what you need to put in. And the nice thing is, after you do it once, you could actually put in your phone number, and it actually texts you a reminder, and you don't have to fill in that information again. It saves your information. Now, if you have multiple kids, you may have to, because it won't automatically remember you. So if you have multiple grade levels, you'll have to make sure you fill it out 2 separate times, and making sure that the email address is correct. Their email address is the same address that your child logs on to Google Classroom. So you guys should all know that, and your child should also know that, hopefully by now. And you can do it ahead of time, but a lot of the parents actually took it and then they forgot to save it. So I actually need to see the screen, the green check mark that you get, I need to see it. So you need to have it on your phone or take a screenshot of it or print it out and bring it with you, okay? You guys are going to show it inside your car, so you just have to hold it up on your phone and we just look at it, and that will be sufficient. I see a lot of you guys trying it right now. Thank you very much, just to making sure that it works. So here's a picture of our map. So you guys will come driving through. We really recommend that you drive here and that you don't walk here. Unless you really have to walk here, it's only for families who do not have a vehicle or they just live literally across the street, because it is safer to be in the car still, and we really don't want families to be congregating. So it's safer and more efficient if you're in a car. And so you'll have proctors navigating the traffic and you'll drive on through. And we always request that you pull forward just so that there is no traffic backed up to the light. And then your child will be in the car. You'll show us the health screening like I showed you with the green mark. One of the staff members will be like, okay, great, you can get out now. And then your child will go to the health screening line, okay? So this is another look at it. So the health screening on station 1 is all the way by our pastor cafeteria. So pull up all the way there. We will have a station for walk-ups if you do need to, but at this time, we actually really request that you don't do that. Station 2 is where we have the temperature checks and you get the little badge. You will also get a color-coded, and I will show you the egress part. You will also get a car decal to place on your car so we can identify your student really accurately. So I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. So egress is 11:30. We also ask that you're very on time for picking up your student. So by 11:30, your child will be brought down by their teacher, and they'll be waiting for you. They're not going to be at the car line like you guys normally are used to. They'll be actually waiting for you safely distant by the cafeteria. We'll have a proctor supervising them. And as soon as we recognize the name on the car, we're going to radio in for that child to come out to be picked up. So you're not going to see them, so don't get worried if you don't see them. You'll see kinders instead. So we actually had to be very strategic about where our kids were going to wait. So we had different spots for kids to wait. Kindergarten are going to be in the pedestrian walkway. 1st and 2nd graders are in front of the cafeteria. 3rd, 4th, and 5th are down actually at the lower campus by the wheel. So they're at different locations so that we can keep kids separate and safely distant. So students will be waiting for you, supervisor, proctor. Parents will display the student name tag in the car dashboard on the right-hand side. And so we became really smart about this and actually have a different color for each grade level. So if it's yellow, it's kinder. If it's a different color, it's 1st grade. If it's 2nd week, it's different. So we know who to call to pick up the child really quickly. We want to be able to move the pickup line very quickly. All students must be picked up by 11:30, and if not, they will be escorted to the main office. And as you know, we cannot mix cohorts yet. So we really do not want large groups of kids being left behind at 12 o'clock because we won't have enough spaces and supervision to appropriately and safely monitor them. So as you can see, this is a sample. Your student's name will be in a nice big cardstock paper. It'll say their grade, it'll say their cohort, and it'll say the teacher's name. And the paper will be a specific color. So if you wanted to duplicate it, there's specific colors to the grade level. And we ask that you display on the dashboard, or if you're walking up, you're going to hold it up. And that's what's going to let the staff know to where to go to pick up your child to bring them to you. Okay, so you're going to pick them up in the same location that you dropped them off for 1st and 2nd grade students. Okay, for school supplies, there's a couple of things we need to know as students are going back and forth. Some 2 days of the week they will be with us, but 2 days of the week they will be at home. So at school, when they come onto campus, you don't need to prepare these for them. They will have it at school already, and it will be kept at school. They're going to get a brand new headset with a microphone. They're going to get pencils and erasers, crayons, paper notebooks, ruler, glue, scissors. All these things will be provided to them. They'll have their individual cubby. You don't need to give that to them. What they will bring back and forth in their backpack, they will need a backpack. I really suggest that we don't have rollies because it's really hard to lug those up and down the stairs, and nothing too heavy. but they need a backpack and maybe a separate snack bag, just so that the water or snack doesn't get into the laptop if it's in the same backpack. You need the school laptop and charger. Please charge your child's laptop fully the night before, because they won't have access to a charging station. We don't want cords everywhere in the classroom. They'll be given loaner laptops if their computer dies for some reason, but we can't just plug it in somewhere. Their books, their teachers will tell you specifically what books or pages they will need for that day. So you need to prepare their backpack the night before. A 2-pocket folder will actually be given to you, but you can bring one if you want. And that's probably the only thing that's going to go back and forth. And personal items, including a water bottle. Our water fountains are no longer usable because they are community. So you guys need to provide a full bottle of water that can be easily accessible by your child. So I recommend the environment-friendly ones, but something that's easy for them to open that they don't need help with. Okay, you guys are also going to prepare some snacks if they choose to eat it during their recess time. They'll be given the time and space to do so. We really recommend healthy snacks and something that they can open on their own. So like oranges are really not that good because it gets messy, it takes a long time to open, and their hands get sticky and they can't get help. Or any type of containers or plastic wrappers that are just easy for them to open on their own. 1st and 2nd graders still have little hands, so they may not be as efficient in doing that. So think of what would be healthy, but also easy for them to do on their own. So we talked about some things to prepare: fully charged laptop and charger. Your students need to know their email address and their password logging onto their computer and Google Classroom. And the kinders, they did fabulous these past 2 days. Some parents put little Post-its on their computer telling them what it is. Some parents put little color-coded stickers on the keypads telling them where it is, but they need that, okay? Because that's what's gonna take the longest time for them to log on in the classroom. So please give them some parents wrote it in a nice big paper and put it in between their laptops, but they need to have their usernames, which is their email address, and their password to log on to computer and Google Classroom. Books with pages. Now our littles might have some trouble finding the appropriate page. So tabbing the pages they may need the night before or just tearing it out would really help them, and also eliminate the frustration they may feel. Dress appropriately. It's cold in the morning and it gets hot by 11:30. So I had a jacket on this morning and then I took it off 30 minutes in. So layers are best. Closed-toe shoes, no sandals or flip-flops. Okay, so dress appropriately for those. If you feel like as a parent they need a change of clothes, then please put that in the backpack. Label all personal items. If you guys remember, we had a huge lost and found last year. So just put labels on backpacks, snack bags, jackets, all personal items, just so that it doesn't get lost. If it does, we can find the rightful owner because it has names on them. A healthy snack in a water bottle. Make sure your child is wearing a mask and maybe there's a spare one. We have spare ones for your child, so if they break, we have extra. We have hand sanitizer and tissue. They'll get one tissue box in their personal belonging. But if you want them to have extra, that in their backpack would be awesome. Also, over this week and the weekend, talk to your child about a few things. How to properly wear a mask. So over their nose and under their chin, okay, and it should be properly fitted. How to wash hands and sanitize properly, okay, 20 seconds with soap and water. If your child is like mine, he rushes through it, so maybe we need to teach them a song to remember, right? So our teachers will reinforce that, but telling your children at home and reminding them of that is also good. Sneezing, coughing etiquette, keeping hands out of their mouth and nose, and how to properly use a restroom. So those are just things to have a really good conversation about at home. Health and safety, we have personal protection equipment for everybody. So we have face masks if your child needs one, and we also have a face shield if they need one. We also have rolling barriers for teachers and staff, and we have desk barriers if your child needs one. We have hand sanitizer, gloves, disinfecting wipes, and hand washing stations. So there's a hand washing station in every single classroom. There's a limit of one person in the restroom max. There's a health screening process and temperature checks upon arrival. Safety expectation signs all across campus. There's ground markers everywhere. We've increased our cleaning protocol throughout the day. We are cleaning restrooms much more frequently, as well as the high touch points. We're cleaning those frequently. We have individual learning materials, and nightly we are disinfecting, sanitizing, and fogging our classrooms. All the desks get sanitized every night. We're not mixing cohorts, and we have protocol for COVID cases. We haven't had any one person to another person transmission of the virus, and we hope to keep it that way. And I think all these protocols and your support at home really is absolutely helping that. So all of these things are in your parents' handbook. If you have any questions, like what happens if my child is sick, what should I do? Or if there is a COVID case, what happens? All those details are outlined for you in the parent handbook. So over this week and over the weekend, I would like to give your child a little bit of homework without the help from your mom or dad. Can your child turn on or off their laptop on their own? Can they log on to Google Meets, type in their email address and password on their own? Practice muting and unmuting on their own. Tie their shoes, put on and take off a mask. Can they wash hands for 20 seconds with soap and get paper towel, 2 hands to pull a paper towel down, use sanitizer properly, put on and take off their jacket, practice zipping and unzipping clothing and backpacks, open a steel bottle of water and close it. Can they open and close a snack item? Can they pack up their backpack? Oh my goodness. Do they remember what they brought and can they bring it back? Push in their chair and organize their desk materials. These are all skills that they are learning. And so if you can practice that at home, that would really help limit the frustration on campus. So other important items, there is an FAQ for hybrid learning that the district created, and also the parent handbook that explains all of this. If your child is sick, you just need to go through the same way of reporting an absence, or if they just feel like they can't come onto campus that day but would still want to learn at home, they can always revert to 100% distance learning. Just talk to the teacher about that and they won't be marked absent. If your child has special health needs, we need a doctor's note and it needs to be on their file. Like if they have allergies or they need to take medications, kids can't bring medications onto campus and their personal belonging. It needs to be logged in with the nurse. On that note, all vaccinations and physical exams need to be up to date. So make sure those are up to date. If your child is in Think Together, it doesn't interrupt their schedule at all. So those are still operating just the same. Music, dance, and PE are going to continue virtually. So that's going to happen primarily on Mondays. Parents asked about coming onto campus or visitors. So at this time, we are not accepting any visitors. We're not accepting parents onto campuses. So parents, after you drop them off, you need to say bye and we need to go. So we need to depart. So we can't linger, we can't loiter, we need to still be socially distant and safe. If you would like to volunteer in any way, ask your teacher what they need, what supplies they need. Tissue papers are always nice, hand sanitizer seems like it's always something good. So I'll ask them that way. Or maybe there's playground equipment that you can donate to the entire class. So instead of helping out that way, there's many different ways that you guys still could get involved. There is no outside food for the entire cohort, so no birthday celebrations, no cupcakes, just a little snack that they're going to bring. There's no sharing of food. If at any time, if you feel like your child cannot continue the cohort of hybrid, then it's easy to revert back to distance learning, but it's not easy to go from distance learning to hybrid because the cohorts have already been created and maintained. So if you want to go to distance learning, that's easier to do, and just reach out to us and that's something we can do for you. All right, I have covered a lot of things with you parents. We will stop the recording.